guys, and welcome to my newest video. Today we are going to be talking about all things exchange students need to know and about all things exchange year. Particularly, we are going to talk about the things you need to bring and the ones that you should leave at home when trying to pack for your exchange year. Now obviously it is pretty much impossible to fit all that you will need for 6 months, 10 months, an entire year into one suitcase, one carry-on, and a backpack. But today I would like to help you out by telling you what things you should definitely bring because you're definitely going to need them, and which things you can leave at home because you're not going to have any use for them anyway. So without further ado, let's get right on into this video. So I am going to start off with the things you do not need to bring to the United States or anywhere else in the world if you're going to be an exchange student in a different country, because you are not going to have any use for them or because it's much easier to get them once you have arrived. The first thing I will mention is do not bring any sort of clothes that will not fit the dress code. I have two things to say about that. One, I'm thinking about making a video about school codes, school dress codes, and anything like that. And also there is going to be a video about if you're going to be an exchange student in the south of the US. I will tell you all about the cultural rules. This also applies to any small town basically in the US, because the whole set of rules there in rather conservative areas is quite different, and there are definitely a lot of things you need to know. Clothing is a really big part of it, so look out for those videos because I'm going to specify this topic and talk a lot more about this in those videos. But to give you a quick glimpse into it, usually anything sheer or see-through, anything that shows the shoulders, or any short skirts, any short dresses are not allowed. Usually schools won't allow you to wear anything that shows your knees or your shoulders or too much, cleavage, so leave any of those things at home. Additionally, if you are going to go to church with your host parents, make sure that you only bring dresses that cover your knees and your arms. And again, the cleavage thing, don't show too much, of your goods. So definitely do not bring really short or see-through clothes or anything like that, even if you're going to a really hot state. I went to Texas, which is super hot, but first of all, the AC, the air conditioning, is going to make, any inside of the school or your home or a car so cold, so you're not going to want to wear anything too short anyway. And culturally, it's just not appropriate to wear, quite revealing clothes. So leave all of those, summer cute short summer dresses or tops at home. You do not need those. Also, I would advise you to leave any sort of bulky items at home. Do not try to bring pillows, do not try to bring huge winter jackets or anything like that. Anything that takes up a lot of space, you really have to think about, because you really only have this one suitcase and the smaller carry-on items. So be very aware. Anything that is big or bulky or really heavy, just really think about whether it might not be a better idea to buy any of those, in your host country, and then it's much easier to figure out whether you actually need those things. Like, you might potentially not even need a winter jacket depending on the state that you go to. Also, another thing you do not need to bring is electrical items. Any hair straighteners or blow dryers or anything like that, you really don't need to bring, because the voltage and the plugs in the US are going to be so different. What you should bring obviously is charging cables for your phone, and you are going to need an adapter, which I'm going to talk about more when I talk about the things that you should bring. But any actual appliances that require a certain voltage, you shouldn't really bring, because first of all, they're usually heavy and bulky, so that goes to my last point. But also, you can get hair dryers if you're going to the US. You just go to Walmart, they're not that expensive, and you really don't need to bring them because they might actually explode in your hands if the voltage isn't right. So just don't bring those. Other stuff you don't need is school materials, for example. Don't try and get loads of school binders or bring all of your favorite pens and pencils from home. It is really not necessary. It takes up so much space, and you can just go to Walmart. Even if you arrive on a Saturday and school starts on a Monday, you can still go to Walmart. You can still get all all of your school supplies there. There is no need to bring it. It's really unnecessary. The prices will most likely be the same as you would have them at home, so just don't worry about these things. And also the format is like super different. Where I'm from in Germany, we have this like certain measurement of paper, and there's like 4, you know, holes in, or 2 to, you know, put it into binders. In the US, the binders in the paper are smaller and it only has 3 holes. So all of the paper I brought didn't actually fit into the binder, so that was super unnecessary. So just make sure when you get there, you hit Walmart or Target or anything and you get your stuff there. Do not stuff all of that in your suitcase. One thing I would also advise you not to bring is anything that could potentially be super annoying to your host family. So if you're thinking about bringing a Bluetooth box, for example, like Bluetooth speakers, I personally would advise you to leave those at home, because you are probably gonna get off on the wrong foot with your host family if you're blasting, you know, music throughout the house. It's really annoying to them. And also, I'm also going to touch on that in my what to, you know when you're going to the American South. Some music is not considered cool for your host family, and actually really inappropriate and something that you shouldn't be listening to. So that could create a lot of conflicts. I would actually advise you to bring headphones, so you make sure that, you know, you're just being very aware that other people are living in the house and that this is not, you know, your natural family who can just forgive you anything, and just be kind of conscious about that fact and leave those things at home. Now, moving on to the things that you should bring, because that is probably more of the practical side of this video. The first thing that I've already touched on a little bit is electric adapters, because as I said, the plugs will be super different. So none of my, you know, electrical items would have fit in the US plugs, because the plug sockets are just, they have a different form. I think it's like the 3 plugs. So what I would advise you, no matter which country you're coming from, Amazon usually offers, you know, little adapters that actually have like a lot of options. So you will have an adapter with like the German plug and the, you know, Great Britain plug and the US plug and stuff like that. So maybe type in like electric adapter and then your country and the US, and it will usually give you pretty cheap options. I can try to link you the one that I had down in the description box below, but definitely just look those up on Amazon. You will probably find one that is pretty cheap that you can use. I would actually advise you to bring more than one, just because if you have a laptop, for example, and your phone, that's already 2 chargers that you are going to be needing. You might even want a 3rd one for another electrical item. I'm pretty sure I had at least 2. That's what I would advise you to bring, but these are definitely a staple. Do not leave without getting 1 at least, or maybe even 2 or 3 of those. If you are planning to join a sports team, I would also advise you to bring your favorite pair of sports trainers, because more likely than not, school is going to start very soon after your arrival, and you are going to be joining a team, which the practice usually starts on the first day of school. So you are going to be needing those shoes right away. I'm not saying that you should bring like all of your athleisure wear, because again, there is a dress code involved, and a lot of your like athleisure wear that you brought from home probably won't fit that dress code, but maybe bring a couple of, you know, athleisure pieces, just because you are going to have to be working out right away. And especially the shoes, because finding a good pair of workout shoes isn't as easy. Just so that you don't stress out as much trying to find like a really good workout shoe that is going to get you through 5 days a week, 4 hours a day of like workouts. So probably bring those from home, you know. What I would also advise you to do, if you do decide to bring some athleisure wear, take t-shirts, no tank tops, because chances are they're not going to be allowed in your school. And also do not bring like leggings, because at least in my opinion, or in my, you know, what I experienced, is that nobody in the US actually wears like leggings when they work out. They all wear like the shorts, so like somewhat baggy, like Nike shorts, or, you know, any brand. Most people wear Nike actually. I'm going to link you an example of one of the shorts down below. That's what everybody wears, and you're going to want to fit in, so, you know, don't bother with all of the leggings unless you want to just wear them in your free time. Another thing which I've also touched on before, do bring modest clothing. So just, you know, bring stuff that covers the shoulders, covers the knees. It's best for school to bring jeans, so no leggings, but actual jeans that have a zipper and a pocket, that have no rips. Do not bring anything that shows your belly, so no crop tops, no lacy tops, no spaghetti strap tops, none of that, no short dresses. I already mentioned that before, so you can just Google modest clothing and what shows up is probably right for you. Another thing that you should also bring, just because it's really nice, is a few small gifts for your host family. Now, I'm not talking about anything super pricey. Most of the time I find that if you bring them some chocolate, for example, or other types of sweets, or that you can just share with them, that is not expensive at all, is super nice, just so that you show that you're super appreciative, that you show that, you know, you want to not only get to know their culture, but that you're open for them to get to know your culture, and that, so that they can ask you questions about it, and it's just a nice conversation starter for the beginning. So that's always a nice thing to bring. Another thing that you should definitely bring is a diary, because you are going to want to remember a lot about your exchange year, but you know, your brain has limited capacity. So I find that it is super useful to just write down anything you experience. If you can do it daily, that's great. You might not have enough time for that. A weekly, you know, entry would definitely be enough. You could also bring a camera. I think that's super good. I mean, most people take pictures on their iPhones now, but what I also love is having like video clips. For example, if you take a trip, it's super nice to, you know, make a short video out of that, because moving image is just a little bit different, a bit more personal, I find. So yeah, if you have a camera, a small one, bring it. What I would also advise you to do is to bring a few small personal items to decorate your room with, just because your room is going to be probably super bare in the beginning, which could make you feel a lot more homesick. So I find that it is nice to have, you know, a couple of pictures and picture frames, or some that you can hang up. Maybe you have, you know, your favorite book with you. Maybe you have something like a craft that you made at home, or, you know, gifts from your friends before you left, or anything like that. I think anything of that sort is super helpful, because your room will look less empty and you will have something that is personal, that means something to you, and it's going to make your room just feel more like yours, and it could definitely help you with homesickness. So, you know, choose a few light and small items to bring with you for that one. Lastly, probably one of the most important things is I would advise you to bring a bit of cash, just because in case you have a few issues with your money, especially in the first month, you are going to need a bit of cash just to buy all of the stuff that did not fit in your suitcase. So I would advise you to bring at least $400 in cash. They are going to ask you how much cash you have to support yourself once you get off the plane, and it is always good if you can answer truthfully that you have a couple $100, just, you know, to support you over the first like 2 or 3 weeks or so. And also definitely bring something like a MasterCard, which is what I used to make sure that you have money supply throughout the year that you can obviously revert back to if you know, need some money and want to buy you some stuff. So that's definitely really important. Those are all of the things that I could think of that are super important. Obviously it depends on where you're going and where you come from and your, you know, personal needs, what you're actually going to need to bring, but those are definitely things that you should keep in mind when trying to pack your suitcase. Please let me know down in the comments below if that video was helpful to you, and whether you have anything in mind that I forgot to mention, just so that other people can check out the comments as well, and, you know, remember to bring this thing that I forgot to mention. Also, if you would like me to do any more exchange student content, or if you have any sort of questions, please leave them down in the comments below. I'll be so happy to make videos about your requests as well. And just thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you would like to not miss out on any of my future content, make sure to hit the notification bell as well as the subscribe button. You can also stay in closer touch with me by following me on my Instagram. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. See you very soon. Goodbye.